Hi kindergarten, it's Miss Lexa here today with another science experiment, and I was thinking, I know how much you guys love to learn about space and how much you enjoyed learning about the phases of the moon. So I thought we could do another experiment to learn about the moon. More specifically, we're going to learn why the moon has craters. So if you look up in the sky at night at the moon, it kind of looks like there's holes in the moon, almost like holes in a block of cheese. And how did those holes get there? They're called craters. And what happens is when meteors, so big hunks of rock in space, when they hit the moon, they make those kind of holes. And we're going to see kind of what that looks like with some very simple ingredients, materials, steps. So I have this pan, it's a circle to look like the moon, and I filled it with about a cup of flour. And now, just so that it's a little bit easier to see what really happens, I'm gonna take a little bit of cocoa powder, yum. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna pour some into my measuring cup. It's okay if some gets in the pan because it's going in the pan anyway. And I'm gonna sprinkle it on the top. You might hear some birds because I'm outside, since this one might get a little messy. Birds are out and they want some of the seed from my bird feeder. So I'm gonna do a little bit more because I want to get it across the top. I want a layer of it on the top of the flour. I might pour straight in. That might be easier. And like I said, I came outside for this experiment because it might get a little messy. So if you try this at your house, you might want to do it outside or put paper towels down so that it doesn't make too much of a mess in the house. Woo! Spreading it out. I think that's good. If you want to, you can also add some fun stuff like sprinkles. So then, I'm gonna put that to the side. I looked around for some rocks in my backyard. I looked around for some rocks. I got ones of a bunch of different sizes. And what we're gonna do, we are going to drop them into the pan. So it's gonna look just like if a meteor or an asteroid hit the moon. So let's try this little one. Let's try this little rock. How big of a hole, how big of a crater do you think it's going to make on the surface of the moon? And I wonder if it would change depending on how high I drop it from. Let's find out. All right, I'm gonna drop it from here. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Do you see the hole that it made? And it moved the cocoa powder on the top. So now you can see the flour again. Let's try this bigger rock. So it'd be a bigger meteor. I'm gonna drop it at about the same height. Boom. Whoa. Do you see how some of the flour and some of the cocoa powder flew out of my pan? That's what would happen in space too. So now I have 2 craters. I'm gonna try dropping this big one from closer. So I'm not gonna drop it from as far of a height. Still made a crater, but it's kind of smaller. You can also try throwing it from the side because meteors aren't always going to come and land on the moon from straight down. They might come from the side. So I can kind of toss it like that. Whoa! Do you see how the powder went everywhere? Let's see what that one looks like. Ooh, kind of slanted. I'm gonna do a couple more. I'm gonna try this one from higher up. So like all the way up here. Whoa, look at that. That's the biggest crater so far, I think. Let's try a few more. I'm gonna try to throw this one. I'm not gonna let this one just drop. I'm gonna try to throw it so that it's hitting the surface harder. Wow. It went almost all the way through the pan. Let's try some more little meteors. Let's drop a little one from really high up and let's see what happens. Not as big of an impact. It didn't splash as much. Let's do one last meteor. There it goes. And so now you can take a look. We have a bunch of different craters, different sizes. This one's the biggest because I threw it really hard. This one's kind of slanted. This one's pretty deep. So what did you notice with our experiment? I noticed that the size of the crater changes if I hold it and drop it from a different height, or if I toss it from the side. It also changes if I use a more powerful throw and hit it harder. So if you try this at home, you should try it with different size rocks, and you should try throwing it at different speeds, or with more strength or less strength, just letting it drop or really tossing it in there. And you can also take a look at the big mess we made to see just how much impact these little rocks or the meteors have on the moon's surface.